walk everywhere, which is a nice change.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why Harper is so great, because
Yes.
everything's
In
right
walking
downtown.
distance, like you
Everything's
could
within
probably,
walking
if
distance.
the windows weren't there, you could probably throw stones
Welcome
to the good
stage,
places
the
to go.
CEO of CCP.
Pretty much, which is always
Hilmar
good. Everyone
Vega
stumbles out and
Pierre
comes back.
Song.
We're going to go straight to the...
So, welcome again. Here we are again, the 9th time Eve FanFest about to start. So, I want to begin by welcoming you to Iceland, which some of you actually have been for a while. I've loved the fact how many people are coming well prepared and getting in gear well ahead of time. Of course, today is the first day of summer. Some of you might have been here for the last day of winter, and as you see here by the picture, there's a very clear delineation between summer and winter in Iceland. Yeah, and it's summer now. So, and of course, we've been escalating FanFest more and more throughout the years. I'm sure some of you saw some of the posters we put at the airport. And this is something that we're sort of going to continue to escalate to turn all of Reykjavik and all of Iceland into EVE Online land as we sort of... So, as you move through Reykjavik in the coming days, I hope you notice some of the things we've been working on and expect more of that to come in the future. Welcome to the Harpa for the second time. This amazing building that is built like a spaceship, specifically to house this FanFest. And I also want to welcome people on the stream. We are further improving our ways to bring this to the world, because we of course sold out as early as February this year. And as this thing continues to grow, we won't be able to fit everyone here. So we will continue to improve the experience from the stream. And I've heard so far it's pretty good. When we had the symphony orchestra last night, we have about 6,000 people. And we're estimating 7,000 people to be watching here, although I'll have some updated numbers as we move through the program. We picked this date for FanFest as this is as close as we could get to the 10-year birthday of EVE Online, which is on the 6th of May. It's hard to imagine that it's been 10 years, but it has. So we are looking at this FanFest also like a birthday celebration for our dearest EVE Online. So of course we're putting on an extra special show as a result of that. Of course we started off with a bang with the symphony orchestra last evening. Was anyone here like me that cried through the whole time? Yeah? Could you applaud if you cried? Ah, okay. Could you applaud if you just liked it? Yeah, it was pretty amazing, and the combination of the video and the soundtrack created this amazing effect, which we have gotten a lot of feedback from people where people would like to own it. And of course we will respond to that, and we will find a way to bring it to you, whether it's a DVD or a Blu-ray or whatever future technology we come up with to bring this experience in a permanent way to you. We've definitely heard the feedback, and we recorded everything. We have all the material available, so we will find a way to get it to you soon. Also, this year around, as we end the first decade of EVE Online, we're also putting a lot of work into introducing to you how we will make the second decade of EVE Online even more amazing than the first decade, which is not a small order. So we've had our teams around the world that work on EVE and Dust and all the future concepts we're about to bring into this universe. So you will be seeing throughout the Keynote program, as we go through the 3 keynotes, you'll be seeing a lot of the things that we've been putting together. Of course, now today focusing on Dust, tomorrow focusing on EVE, where we will do a little reminiscing about the past and waxing about the future. And of course, at CCP Present on Saturday, we will summarize some of that and extend it even further into the future. I also encourage everyone to engage with the presentation program. There's a lot of people at CCP that have put in a lot of work to put together presentations on everything that they're working on. And as we know, through the years, it's been really important to present this out, get your feedback into it, and start this very productive dialogue we've been having now for a decade. But today, the focus is on Dust 514. And I want to start this FanFest where we ended the last one by playing the cinematic from last year. So. Of course, we have prepared something new to end the FanFest with, so brace yourselves. But right now, today, of course, this video talks about the discovery of the mercenary technology, basically mobile cloning with all its downsides and upsides. Our Dust teams around the world have been hard at work to bring about this technology into the world. And here to sort of bring us up to speed on the progress of that, which has been amazing, I want to welcome to the stage Brandon Lorino, the executive producer for Dust 514.
Thank you. Thanks, Hilmar. Hello, FanFest 2013. What's up? So, Dust 514 at FanFest 2013. So we've already had an amazing day of sessions. I hope you attended some of them. And you're experiencing the keynote right now. Friday, we've got much more lined up. Tomorrow is the first EVE Universe tournament, Dust 514, EVE Online, fighting side by side together in a PvP tournament for amazing prizes. We've got a session on low-sec planetary conquest. More on that in a minute. We'll also have a roundtable on the sandbox. So that really goes in depth on how we started by introducing Dust 514 in high-sec. Now we're expanding to low-sec with planetary conquest, and where we're going to take it with null-sec. If you're interested in something like that, I highly suggest you attend, because I really want to emphasize you can help shape the games that we're making. Advancing the Core goes into detail on all the core shooter mechanics. and what we have now and where we're going with that. And of course, there will be pub crawl drunkenness, which I'm sure you're all looking forward to. That was a really surly, like, drunken... You're already drunk. Saturday, we have CCP Presents, where we look far into the future. We have the tournament finals, both Eve and Dust. We'll have a session on combined roles and tactics, so that's for all you Lodge Bros and heavy snipers, and help us cook up some more crazy concoctions with your fittings. Corps and Alliances, that is a place to really talk with us about what you want to see in Corp and Alliance functionality in Dust. And Progression and Gear really goes in depth on the new skill tree and the gear associated with it. And of course, there is the party at the top of the world on Saturday, capping everything off with a massive hangover on Sunday. Yeah, all very excited about that. I'd like to highlight these 3D models that we're tinkering with. They're on display in the Eve store. If you have some ideas of what you'd like to see us do with that, please let us know when you see us. We're really interested to hear what you'd like to see made really real. So the tournament, just a couple of quick notes on that. Sign-ups are right now, right next door in front of the PvP room. They're almost full, so this is your last chance to really get in on that. Tournament play is tomorrow from 1100 to 1700, and the finals are on Saturday from 1200 to 1400, all at the PvP room next door. Immediately following this keynote, if you're signed up, please go next door. We're going to be doing the brackets drawing, and it's a chance to meet with your teams. So please go next door right after this keynote if you're part of the tournament. And then the prizes. So the first place team, everyone gets a PS3. The top 3 MVPs get a special edition red one and a Vita. There will be an awesome NVIDIA graphics card for all of you, Razer swag bags for all of you, and we'll be giving you this beautiful aluminum plaque trophy, swag, in-game items, and beer. What a surprise. Second place team gets the trophy, gets the swag, gets the in-game items, and beer. And the third place team gets the trophy, swag, and more beer. I'd like to give a quick shout out to ISK the Guide. This is an amazing community effort. Big shout out to Lacey. And Volume 3 is coming with a focus on Dust. It's really looking amazing. So please look forward to that. And big props to Lacey and the rest of the crew working on ISK the Guide. Yeah. Give them some love. Yes. Very good. Yes. There he is right there. Say hi. Yes. Fantastic. Right now, I would like to introduce to you the first CCP Elect Council of Planetary Management. Here they are. King Spiro, Iron Wolf Saber, Nova Knife, Jenza Aranda, and Hans Jagerblitzen. So this is our first Council of Planetary Management. Of course, this is a complement to the long-standing Council of Seller Management for Eve. Of course, they are your voice with us, the development team. We'll be interfacing with them regularly. We'll be meeting with them regularly. So again, in addition to talking to us here at FanFest, please talk to them and let them know really what you want to see. They are very excited to hear it, as you can see from all these head nods. Please get with them, and they will in turn get with us, and we will help make this amazing game together, all of us. So thank you, folks. This first Council of Planetary Management was selected by us from some standout people in the Dust beta. Of course, one of their first really important orders of business will be to determine the player elect process with us immediately following. So that will be one of the first things on the docket for the CPM. So, all that said, let's talk about Uprising. So Uprising is the next major Dust 514 release, totally for free for your PlayStation 3, coming May 6th. We did a lot of amazing stuff in Uprising. There is no way I can go through that whole list in this keynote. It would take us the entirety of FanFest to run through the list of thousands and thousands and thousands of improvements that we made in Uprising. But we will cover some high-level beats in this keynote right now. Accessibility. So we've revamped some of the menus, most notably the skill tree, and turned it into a node-based skill tree that hopefully some of you capsuleers are going to be jealous of. sorry, into a beautiful node-based skill tree that really makes it easy to understand what you have now and where you want to go. Along with that, we've reworked all of progression. So it goes hand in hand with the skill tree revamp, and we've made it a lot easier to understand what the prerequisites are, flattened it out, and made it sort of easier to get into in the beginning, and then much deeper at the end with a lot more specialized roles and classes. So look forward to that, and we've released some blogs giving full details on exactly how that's laid out initially when we launch Uprising, but of course, that'll be iterated on into the future. Environments and graphics. So there's a lot of new maps to play with and a lot of new environments to enjoy, but also most notably, we've made a major graphical update with Uprising. And that's never really happened with a console game before. There's never been a console game that's been in the player's hands, whether it's a demo or a beta, that's really improved significantly from that moment to when that you walk to the store and pick it up for $60. This is yet another part of our continued free updates for Dust 514, and it's really almost like playing a different game. It's almost like we could call it Dust 2, but we won't. It's Dust, it's the ongoing service, and it's the ongoing free service that you get from us. And we'll be going into details on that in just a few moments. Drop suits and vehicles, we've introduced a number of new types of drop suits and new vehicle roles and classes. This includes rounding out the medium range of drop suits, and that goes along with the skill tree. Drop suits are now identified by small, medium, and large, and then you skill up into roles within that. And we've now rounded out the full medium range, and I'll show that in a moment. We've also added, for example, an assault dropship, so now the pilots can fire, which is really cool. Gear. So straight across the board within the existing item types that we have, we've done a ton of itemization, new color variations, new sort of variants on the existing items, but we've also just tuned everything. Everything has gotten a balance pass, everything has gotten a handling pass, infantry, vehicles, tons of different control schemes. Yes, you can now accelerate on triggers, all this kind of stuff. Major, major, major update on that front in every regard. And then Planetary, Conquest, and Corporation updates. So this is another major update, Planetary Conquest and LowSec in your hands, and again, we'll be going into details of that in just a few short moments. I'd like to just highlight a couple of things, a couple more things. So these are the 4 drop suits that we started with originally from left to right. It was the Scout, the Logistics, the Assault, and the Heavy. Now essentially that's the Galenti Light, the Minmatar and Caldari Medium, and the Amar Large. And now with Uprising, we are introducing the Galenti Medium, the Minmatar Light, and the Amar Medium, which means in the medium range, we now have the full set of racial variety. And if you extrapolate that to where we're going in the future, which we'll show you a bit of on Saturday, you can just imagine the sheer variety and scale of what we're making here. And this goes on and on. So within that range, there's a tremendous amount of new color variations and ways to personalize your experience in Dust 514. The color variations are both for personalization and also to identify specialized roles and classes in the game, such as pilots, logistics, scouts. There you can see medium assaults with camo. So we've also introduced camouflage patterns, which are really cool. Camo on the tanks, the Galenti tanks in a whole bunch of different varieties. We also have LAVs with some hot paint jobs. I really like the Bumblebee style one, and I really like that neon green Galenti LAV. And there's your assault dropship, as well as the existing one and 2 new color variants. But there's so much more. I'm just scratching the surface. But now I'd like to discuss something really important with you. Universal voice transmitters. I know how much you all love universal voice transmitters, and we really invested a lot of time into this important feature. So we know how important it is to you, and this was a major international effort, not just for development, but legal, marketing. Every single discipline got together to really think about how can we improve universal voice transmitters by destroying them. So if you don't know what this means, it means now, in addition to the free voice that we provided for teams and squads, now all voice chat across the EVE universe is completely free in Dust 514. I was kind of joking, but it really was a tremendous effort from not just development, but legal and a lot of other disciplines, finance, to be able for us to support this with a free-to-play game. And we think it's just pretty amazing to be able to have free voice and text chat, not just in Dust, but across Dust and EVE Online. So we really hope you enjoy that. I think you will. And with that, I would like to introduce Atlee Mars-Svensson, who's going to go into more details of the amazing Uprising update. Thank you.
Hey guys. Yeah, I would like to walk you guys through some of the graphics improvements and accessibility improvements we made to the game in the last few months. Now, clicker. This is just a small part of the upgrade we've done. Brandon mentioned thousands and thousands. These are just few. But I'm going to focus on these here. We'll cover the other stuff in the tournament room. First off, path to game. We have completely revamped the path to game. We've added an MMO-style launcher, and we sped up the whole process of getting into the game. Before, it took about 4 minutes and 30 seconds to get into the game and shoot people in the face. Now it takes 90 seconds. That's a pretty substantial, yeah. Give it. We have replaced the old character creation and the character selection, and it's now more informative, more accessible, of course, has more information, and it looks a lot cooler. You can play around with it again in the tournament room. Here's the character selection. This is the skill tree. Have you guys seen it? Who has played with it? No one? Anyways, it's far better than the list that we had before. We felt that navigating the skill tree, you know, the EVE-style skill tree, was a little bit cumbersome. So we added this node-based skill tree. But since we all know lists, we all want lists and numbers and Excel sheets and stuff, we kept the old one in there. So if you feel more comfortable with it, you can still use it. The Battle Finder has received some love as well. Now, the planet that is displayed when you highlight a contract is the actual planet in the EVE universe. You will see that same planet represented in the war room, in EVE, the whole thing. And of course, it looks a lot better. We've done major changes to the spawn screen, as you can see. The information is more clearly laid out with added information and animation on the spawn icons. It used to take 3 clicks to get into to spawn in, but now it takes only 1. And the fit selection is optional. You don't have to do it every time you spawn in. We added the kill screen, which shows you stats about the enemy that killed you. This is really useful, I think, if you need to hunt them down. We improved on the end of match screen quite considerably. It looks similar, but we've added a new tab that shows you more stats porn, which we all love, and the kill death over time graph, which is pretty cool. Of course, not always you may want to, you know, YouTube it. Sometimes it looks kind of negative, but, you know, it's there for you to do whatever you want with. We would love to hear from you guys what you would want in the end of match screen. We can easily add more stats, more graphs, that kind of stuff. So ping us with it. It's pretty cool. Now, the graphics polish. I'm going to show you guys here some before and after from Chromosome to Uprising. Check it out. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So, yeah, give it. As you can see, the improvements are pretty substantial. We've upgraded the lighting system, the terrain system, the blend masks, the shaders, stuff like that. If you saw Anders Caspersen's presentation today, you know what I mean with what I mean. The shaders on the vehicles have been vastly improved, and the weapons and drop suits and so on and so forth. Let me show you another one. This is what Chromosome looked like. This is the beta. This is today. God rays. Now we need voice of God, I think. It would be cool. God rays. Dynamic tone mapping. And of course, flowers and friends. It's the loving term for our vegetation system. It's currently only flowers, but the friends are coming soon. Now, just to show you guys again, I mean, check it out. Hi. Seeing screenshots is one thing, so I'm going to play you guys a video. That's a whole other thing. And of course, in the tournament tomorrow, you need to sign up and stuff. You will experience this firsthand on multiple battlefields and multiple different combination of things. We're not just shoving in new features on the rendering side, we've also made the game more performant. It runs faster, less laggy, that kind of stuff. So no worries, we're on it. I am going to introduce Kjartan Pierre Emilsson. He was the former lead designer of EVE Online, so many of you know him. He's our principal game designer. He is going to talk to you guys about the EVE universe, our vision for it, and the next steps. Thank you. Hi.
Hi there. So just to put it a little bit into context, the team I work on is basically a team that handles both integration of gameplay from EVE and Dust, but also integration with Dust into the EVE universe, and finally also gameplay that may be only for Dust, but is really gameplay targeted at the players that are basically enabling gameplay for others, basically leaders of corporations, alliances, the strategic long-term gameplay that we want to sort of introduce into Dust. You might call it the MMO of Dust. So I'll go briefly into what we're doing for Uprising. But before that, and considering that this is EVE 10-year anniversary, I thought it was maybe a good idea to try to go a little bit and explain the vision that we have for this and how it has evolved and why we're there. Because, I mean, some people sometimes tell to us that this is pure madness. And there's nothing wrong with madness as long as it's beautiful. And for it to be beautiful, it needs to have a reason and purposefulness. And I want to walk you a little bit through the philosophy that I think underlies CCP games design philosophy, and that explains a lot how our games are. So we can say that EVE have started as a relatively simple product in a very big world. And through the years, we're basically kind of refining this world, introducing new sort of gameplay and systems, social structures, and tools to enable those, market, etc. And I've always liked the idea that, or at least that's the way I've thought about it, was that EVE is real, really. There's a world there that is EVE, and we're trying to see it through the tool that EVE Online is, and we are sort of like gradually refining it. And each time we refine it, we see a little bit more detail of that world that is out there. And it's a little bit like looking at the fractal. If you look closer, you start seeing more detail. So this is how this world evolves. It's not really we're adding to it, we're just seeing it better. And of course, planets have always kind of a point where people tended to focus. Even on, I remember 2004 FanFest, we presented Flying Over Planets to great acclaim. And even though it was really just a visionary thing, I think it was clear from that moment that the idea of actually going to such detail was somewhere in the back of our mind. But there were challenges to it. How do you combine this kind of gameplay? If you look at EVE gameplay, it's a relatively slow in time. It fits well into like a monthly cycles and long-term strategies. Avatar or vehicle-based gameplay is much more Twitch-based, shorter time scale. And if you go, for example, on a console where that's a huge market, obviously, it's also like a very different way of approaching games, and might be a completely different business model as well. So how do we combine this? The typical solution in the industry is to basically create a separate game in the same franchise. So you would have like, you know, an EVE franchise, and lots of games on RTS, FPS there, blah blah blah. And this would be the sane way and the easy way to go. But we decided to do this, where we basically have the two games together, multiple devices, multiple business model, multiple target customers, etc. So why did we do that? And I think I can try to summarize at least 3 game design principles that we tend to follow. There are probably more than that. One, we like to create sandboxes. We like to maximize human interaction. And we like to maintain verisimilitude. I hope I said that right. And I want to go a little bit into details what we mean by this. So a sandbox, what it is, figuratively, is a place with sand. And as you evolve through it, you sort of leave a trail into it. So there's some kind of history of you being there. You can also modify it. And these modifications will affect the destiny of others. And if we then look at the tools, if you give people tools to build something with, we really believe that, first of all, you will build castles. That's clear. But because you built it, you will care much more intensely for it. There's a much stronger emotional engagement to things you create, that you create yourself and you own. And thus you will also fight for it. And this is very important. And if we take the example of EVE, if we take the Titan, the first Titan that was built, it was like organizationally thousands of players that took part in that. It took many months to build. And when I say creating castles, I'm not talking about the Titan itself, because in a way the Titan is the tip of the iceberg. This whole organization, this whole social structure that enables that is really amazing, amazing created content. So, and even though that ship was destroyed on its maiden voyage, if I remember correctly, I'm sure the people that both destroyed it and made it had an absolutely emotionally strong experience doing it. So now we go now to the human interactions. And this I probably don't need to tell you about, but the fact that we are not running shards is kind of key here. Because if you look at shards, what they do is essentially limit the size of the social networks that you have. And that effectively limits the size of things you can build. And again, I'm not saying building things, but creating organization, organizing people, etc. If you're only with 5,000 people, you will never get very much larger than that. So we do want to have no limits on the social networks that you can build. And being a single shard universe is absolutely key for that. Finally, verisimilitude is maybe the most abstract concept here. And it's not necessarily about graphical fidelity. That will be the easy part, but still we are definitely doing our best there. But what I'm talking about is that things are believable. So like when I open this door, there's no scaffolding behind it. That's why we keep the door closed, by the way. They, the thing is that when you have systems that behave in a way that you are used to, often modeled on reality, but you know, for example, they have, whatever you do, you have consequences. Like in the real world, there's preservation of mass. If I take something from here and bring it here, then there's less mass here than it's now there. And you are modifying the world. This is very important. And global consequences in the case of Eve, I mean, it's probably best illustrated in the economy, where basically activities in a far-reach part of the galaxy will affect others because of price fluctuations. So, if we take all these things that we would like to do, which were, I think, kind of a guiding thing when we created Eve, how do we expand on this? And if we take a step back and really say, okay, we are using the sandbox analogy. So we could say that the tools are the gameplay, in a way. You use the gameplay to modify the world. But then what is our sand? And in our case, I think the sand is a little bit more complicated than a little grain of sand, but you could sort of summarize that it's the sum total of all the rules of the game, the lore, the way that minerals are created, their balance, how you modify them into types and items, etc. These are certain fundamental principles that if you are going to live in this universe, you must follow. It's a little bit like the laws of nature. This is the sand that we have to work with. And all of this stuff ends up being numbers in a database, on our Tranquility database. And you can just look at it as a big matrix of data living and fluctuating as you are doing stuff. So that when a player runs through the game, he basically lives like a small digital trail of data through this matrix. And of course, like if another player comes along and does something different, with different gameplay, still their trails might cross, and they might influence each other. So this was like a kind of key revelation that to realize that when you're joining things together, especially when you have like a common substratum like the Eve universe, and this is what you're modifying, the fact that you modify it on one side will alter the experience for the others, even though they're using different tools. And this is a little bit like how we visualize things now, is that each of these games is like a tool that you use to access this universe, and the part of which you influence might not, you know, there's not full congruence on it, but there might be something that is shared where you modify the other people's experience, and through that you are basically communicating and interacting. And you might even have like a third thing, which I don't know what is, that might, you know, even link together the two others in places where there is no direct link. So this is like really our abstract view. But if we go back a little bit to reality and look at what does it mean for Dust and Eve, you can look at Dust as it is, as a pure console game, where you basically, you as a player and corporations, you fight for territory on planets. And these provide you with some kind of incentive, financial incentive. And of course, as soon as that exists, you will have people fighting for that. So just there, you don't really need any kind of linkage suite. You're just using the planets. But we do have the social structure shared. And we also introduce economic benefits of the district's ownership through the organizations that are shared. And this, of course, as soon as you have benefits in Eve, there will be people fighting for that. And they share social structure on the ground. And then these two begin shooting at each other. And at this point, you can just, you know, take away this line, put it all in this universe that we have, put it in a box, provide different ways of, you know, access of different client, mobile, PC, console, localization, etc. And we're still with this single, true, real world that we're interacting with through different games. And this is the world that we're creating, and this is our long-term vision. But now to maybe make it a little bit more concrete, I just want to show you a little bit of the things that we were doing for Uprising. First of all, one of the things that we quickly realized as we sort of like slowly engage Dust into the EVE universe is that they need to be able to see the EVE universe, because mercenaries, they don't travel in spaceships. And we had obviously a map before, which was more like a pretty map, but it wasn't really showing you what's happening in EVE. So we decided to create a new map where our criteria is basically to be able to show the whole of the universe and show also its active state, how it is modifying every day, and give you give the Dust players a kind of interface for through the map gameplay, where they can actually do their game of conquest, etc. So I'll just quickly bring up that map, and I'll explain a little bit to you what you see, because it's probably all very new to you. So what we have here is basically, first of all, we flattened the map to make it very readable. We worked within certain design constraints on the console to be able to show all this information. And so I'm just using the control stick here to go between regions. Each of these nodes are regions that you see here. And they may probably look familiar, stuff here. The colors, this is one of the ways that we're using the information content here. The colors here are representing aggregated sovereignty holders. And that is in EVE, so we don't really have any sovereignty play in Dust yet. But this is still the manifestation of the EVE politics at its best. So we thought it was good for the Dust to get accustomed to that and get to know who the people are that are ruling the world. And then we decided also to have it like on a hierarchical map. So you go from one region, and so you can select a region and drill down into it and get more detail. You see these black links, these are lateral links. So basically we sort of like move laterally. As you can see, so many of these regions are quite complicated. This was all manually flattened. It was great work, especially when somebody pointed out to me that I had chosen the wrong axis when flattening it the first time, so I had to do it again. I hate that. And then, yeah, if I go down to systems, here you basically see constellation. The icon becomes a little circle. And here you can go through the planet. We are not, because we don't have any gameplay associated with the other planets, except the temperates, we still haven't opened that up. But obviously, that's for the future. All this map is dynamically loaded from the server, so it's basically like browsing the web here. So all the data is dynamic, etc., which is kind of cool. And by the way, this API exists as a CREST API. That's probably be able to publish it as a third-party API at some point. And then you will notice at the top you have like different tabs: Atlas, Factional Warfare, and Corporation. These are kinds of different lenses through which you look at the map. The Atlas view is more like the browsing map, where you like look at the political landscape in general. But then the other ones are more concentrated on specific gameplay that you have. So if you look, for example, Factional Warfare, these are the Factional Warfare regions that are highlighted. And the actual meaning of the color in this case is the aggregated sovereignty of districts in the Factional Warfare thing. We also changed Factional Warfare from our last update, so that now individual players can join and choose sides, etc. It's much cooler. And finally, probably the most interesting things for you is the corporation view, which is for player corporations. In LowSec, as you can see, we started very small. We have only a little region, Malden Heath, where we are starting with this new gameplay. And within Malden Heath, there are districts to be conquered, and Dust corporations can conquer them. And here, the color coding is the same. It shows fractional ownership. Also, you can notice the little icons around things. So when you, for example, see a star, this is meaning like a battle that you can actually join now that is happening. So your corporation can join this battle. You just follow the star all the way down to the district. And the flag shows you stuff that you own. So for example, if I go here, I think I own a lot of stuff here. And I own all the districts on this planet. And these are the districts view on the planet. So each districts also have you can install a surface infrastructure on the district that will affect its production capacities and also will affect the bonuses that you get in Eve, and this will be centered around the Pi bonuses. So if somebody within your corporation or your alliance owns a district in Dust, you will benefit from it up in Eve, with some stacking bonuses as well if you have many districts. What you see also above the little dots here, these are the clones basically that you stockpile clones. You can think of this as your little risk guys that you put there. These are the actual people or clones that will be counted in your Dust battles when you fight for districts. So these are very strategic, and the different surface infrastructure, they allow you to stockpile different amounts of clones or produce more clones, etc. And of course also for each of the surface infrastructure you have different outpost structures actually in Dust. So they will look different depending on what you install. But it's a little bit difficult to maybe show this gameplay through simply just browsing the UI. So we decided to contextualize this a little bit, to play act a little bit how you would typically sort of initiate a conflict like this. And to do that, CCP Nullarbor, that is also part of our team, and a lead engineer, will actually play act like a recruitment director from a fictional Eve corporation, and will explain to you how he actually manages with the Planetary conquest gameplay here. So I'll welcome CCP Nullarbor. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks. Hi everyone. Yes, today I'm Nullarbor, and I'm the recruitment director for my corporation here, also part-time exotic dancer. Our corp is Angel Fire Brigade, and here is our corporation logo. It has a skull on it, which is cool. Here is our home station in Heck, and this is where our Eve Capsuleer is based out of. We've got all our stuff here. And we're originally a low-sec PvP corporation. We do a little bit of like group mining and industry. We have a research pause, and you know, we sort of work together on a bunch of different activities. We also have some low-sec customs officers with a reasonable tax rate, and that makes us a bit of ISK every month. As of January, a few of our corporation directors have started playing Dust 514. And we've been recruiting heavily for that, and we have over 100 mercenaries now. And we're sort of practicing a lot. We have regular squads running most nights of the week. We have training sessions with other corporations. Basically everybody's sort of practicing their team gameplay and honing their skills for war. And we're recruiting, so sign up today. So now I want to tell you a little story about what's happening today. A few weeks ago we went to an Eve player meet, and there were a bunch of Eve players and Dust players from different corporations, and one guy in particular that we met, this Canadian guy called Fox4, and he's from a corporation called Black Swan Regulators. And one night our FC Fozzie in all his wisdom thought it would be fun to have a practical joke and steal this guy's shoes from his hotel room. And so he then proceeded to walk around for the rest of the Eve meet in just his socks. And of course we trolled him on the forums about this endlessly. And we thought it was a bit of fun, you know, ha ha ha, no shoes. And we find out a few days later, Black Swan war decked us. They attacked a mining operation. We lost an orca. We drove them off the fields. It got a little bit messy. Then they put our POS into reinforce, and we're not particularly happy about that outcome. So, you know, things kind of escalated. It was a funny joke, and they took it too far. So now we have to retaliate, obviously. So we did a bit of intel gathering. We found out they run a similar operation in Malden Heath. They have a bunch of low-sec POCOs. They're also playing the new feature in Dust 514, Planetary Conquest. And we discovered they have this whole planet in Mutakon, Planet 2. They have all of the districts on this planet, and there's a bunch of different surface infrastructure installed. And in particular, there's 4 here with the gear icon. These are the production facilities. And these have a high rate of output of clones. They also give them a bonus to their planetary interaction output. And they're using this to make a whole bunch of robotics on this temperate planet. And they've got their POCO on top with a good tax rate for their members. So it's a pretty good operation. It's a nice little sandcastle. And we're going to smash it all down. So if we head back to the map, now we're going to drill down and have a look at this operation here. We've been planning ahead of time, so we've got a planet with a bunch of districts here. We have all of these districts, and they've been generating clones for us, and we're sort of stockpiling them for war. You can see all the different infrastructures here. And so I'm going to pick up some clones, and it's as simple as picking how many we want. Now this is clones that we will take into battle, so we're going to want a few of these. We'll probably want to do around like 160, yep, that looks good. And we're going to deploy them onto their stuff. So we'll pick that up, we'll go back, and over to Muticon. Now you can see already there's a star here because we were smart and here's one we prepared earlier, and we're going to be fighting that in just a moment. So let's take this district tomorrow, and we're going to start this battle tomorrow. So I deploy my clones here, and we can see this is the contract screen. Basically this is telling you how many clones will make it after there's an attrition for the distance that they travel, and there's a delivery fee which you pay to Genelution for moving the clones around, and it'll tell you when the attack is going to happen. And this is pretty good for our playtime, so we're going to schedule that now. And there we go. So, but right now we've already planned ahead. We've got our battle that we're about to start, and I'm going to need some help from our squad leaders. So welcome back CCP Gian and CCP Praetorian to finish this off.
Hey, let's kick their ass.
Let's do it. So I'm going to join the battle. You can join the battle from the map now, which is pretty handy. You can see where that actually happens.
I'm going the old-fashioned way.
To the,
You do it the list way if you like.
battle finder.
Yeah.
And I think basically
Guys, you can also see that we revamped the loading screens. Look a lot better.
sexy loading screens.
And you can see we have our fleet in orbit above the planet, and they're having a battle with the POCO. They're going to try to put that into reinforce. There's some resistance there, and they'll be providing orbital support during this battle.
This is the new spawn screen that I talked about. As you can see, it looks a lot better.
I've created a squad. Join up.
Let's join.
Let's go into the MCC. I'm deploying. You can see the counter on your deployment. You get a lot more situational awareness of where you're spawning into. That also includes everything that you own now has a signature radius, a scan radius, so you'll also be able to see enemies in the area that you're spawning into. So we've greatly improved the spawn system among the many, many improvements that we've made in Uprising. Whole team's here.
Okay. So you can see that I'm cloaked.
Yeah, I love the new cloak.
Another improvement to spawning.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, should we go?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's go.
Go!
I'm scared.
Alright, so I'm on the lower left.
Oh, I want to show you guys.
Upper right.
Check it out. Now you can actually see the texture in the texture. Oh.
Yeah, you'll see pretty much every aspect of the game is greatly improved.
Grab an
Performance, graphics, and when you get your hands on it, the actual handling of things.
Whoa, assault. You left me.
No, I'm here. There you go.
I'm in one of the new assault dropships, which is fantastic because I can shoot out the front of it.
But we're really proud of what we're pulling off on the PS3 here. You've got these massive 5-kilometer landscapes. You've got a ton of players in here, all with unique gear and equipment.
next to the beef.
Okay. Let's get out. We're going to go around the long way to objective A.
Not because we want to show you guys more, but, you know.
I'm going to take the scenic route.
Yes.
As you can see, I'm using the new Amar Scrambler rifle. So it's more effective against shields and has a faster rate of fire.
I'm wearing a logistics suit here.
Second.
Oh, and let me scan some.
So let's push on to A.
Right. Some heavy resistance. Note that this team includes the CPM.
Whoa.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
That's why we picked them.
Dumb it down, I think.
We've got these two heavies in front of us.
Where?
No, like our team. Rolling hard.
Local hack.
Let's hack this. Gang hack. You hack various installations faster with multiple people, of course, and that's another thing you can skill into if you don't know. Go for the bridge. Let's head over to objective B.
Okay.
I want to hit the supply depot. One sec. Change.
There's a tank. We need the tank in here.
Oh, my heavy. Okay. Oh. Team, fall back to my location. I'm going to put a squad order.
Yeah. Bomb the crap out of him.
So everybody fall back to here. I think we're going to need some special support.
We have our fleet ready in orbit.
All right, let's do this. I'm calling in the orbital strike right on top of these clowns. There we go. That looks like a juicy target. So important to note, you all have seen this before, orbital bombardment from Eve down to dusk, but now you will note the Eve tag of the ship and the name of the person conducting the strike. So that is just one of the many ways that we are visualizing Eve in dust and really making it all feel like part of the same connected universe across platforms and games.
We're crawling towards B.
You can see I'm using the new Flaylock pistol, which is basically a missile pistol. That's really fun.
Okay, who is that? Why is he in our court?
Let's push on to B.
Alright.
Mr. Mustache. Oh. Steve W.
Okay, gotta go.
How about that, Steve W? Whoa. Who's in here?
Was he there?
Someone in here? Are we
Oh,
clear?
it's clear.
Whoa. Got someone.
And they've got wings. Follow the entrance. Fuck. Missile pistol.
Blew him the hell away. Nice job. Wait. I want the war point.
Okay, I cancelled the war point. The hack
come on,
for you.
Come on, hack. You can hack it with me. So.
You're like taking my war points, man.
I got the hack assist. You got the hack. It's all good.
I think we're winning, Brandon.
I think we're going to win this.
No dev hacks involved.
No dev hacks at all. Yay! What do you know?
Good job, man.
It's amazing! I can't believe we did it! Yes! Yes! New end of match screen. Very nice. And
I'm scared. Yes.
yes. Building our empire.
One district down. A few more to go. We'll fight them tomorrow.
Yeah, as scheduled.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cameron. Thanks, Atlee. So we've really just scratched the surface of Uprising. Again, even all these 3 days wouldn't be able to explain all of the improvements that have gone into the game with this free update, as usual. And it's really just the beginning of a journey. Just like with Eve, Dust, we have a 1-year roadmap, 2-year roadmap, 5-year roadmap, 10-year roadmap, and we will continue this pace of free updates, whether it's new features like Planetary, Conquest, improvements to existing features like the skill screen, or just general overall polish to the game, such as the amazing graphics updates that we've done like never before on a console game. This will continue, not just now, with what you'll have in your hands in about a week, but into the future. So thank you for coming on this journey with us. But before we go, one more thing. I'd like to introduce David Reed, our CMO. Please welcome him to the stage.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you, Brandon. And thank you all for coming back to FanFest here. This is a huge FanFest for all of us. This is my second, as those of you here last year know. But it's a really important one for all of us here, given, as Hilmar said, this is really where we are kicking off our second decade celebration. And, you know, the tough part of this job right now is following what just happened here. I mean, you know, you've got those guys all playing on the PS3. You're seeing the orbital bombardment happening from Eve. You know, did we mention this game is completely free to play? You don't have to pay anything to be part of it. The borderline technical genius to insanity of Carton Pierre there, this is a tough one to follow. And it kind of reminds me, you know, I had an interview earlier this morning with Kenobu of Russia. And the editor there was an 8-year Eve player, and he asked me, he said, how do you go about marketing this thing? This is a big story. What do you do? And it isn't simple. It is something that, you know, when you have an audience of people, you know, you guys get it here in the audience, the people watching on the stream get it, hundreds of thousands of Eve players get it. But there are tens of millions of players playing Call of Duty or Halo or Battlefield or what have you on their consoles that are waiting to be liberated from a prison they don't know that they are in yet. And there's only so much of that message people can take at one time when they aren't ready for it. And so part of what we're going to show you here is how we're going to bring people into that rabbit hole and what are the things we are going to do. And a lot of this is going to be standard marketing tactics with a bit of a twist, with a little more depth, with layers of meaning to them. And, you know, I thought I'd start a little bit with a reflection on kind of how we started this journey last year, you know, you and I as a Eve community and a marketing group together, that there were several laws that we thought would be really important. And as we look back over the past year at the success of Inferno and Retribution, the Dust closed beta to open beta transition, we're feeling pretty good about the spirit of how we're getting this and the cadence and the tenor of that. But for today, we're going to really focus on the launch of Dust and what it means to launch Dust as a AAA shooter. So there are a couple things that come out of the standard, you know, sort of marketing 101 playbook that we're going to use, but we do them a little differently, as you've seen. One of the first things, of course, is taking the game to events. I mean, it's great that you've got a free-to-play game, and you can get tens of millions of people to just pick it up on their console and things like that. And many of you came to visit us at PAX East, and we've had a player gathering there, and you saw all this happen, and great success there in the booth. But of course, we're CCP, and we did this a little differently, and we ran a live event, the Battle for Caldari Prime. I don't need to explain to you guys how exciting, at some level, getting the Galente Caldari hostilities ignited again there in LOSEC is a pretty big deal for us. But at some level, the idea of opening that Titan up and turning it into an actual asset in the game that players could destroy, and crashing that Titan down to the ground where there are 60,000 people playing at PAX East, is a bit of a tracer bullet, if you will. The world's largest tracer bullet, maybe, but a bit of a tracer bullet of what we plan to do going forward. There's a much larger rollout about how Eve and Dust are going to connect together that is going to ignite a lot of people's attention here, and we're really excited about that. So keep watching. I mean, those of you who are reading the chronicles, who are in the role-playing groups, who are seeing these things happen, this is only the beginning of how we're going to do this. And keep in mind, this was all done with a first-person shooter that was still in beta. So we've got big strides ahead of us on this. Now, another thing we did is a lot of times in marketing, you like to find sponsorships. So I've learned that when you take on a sponsorship with an undefeated mixed martial arts wrestler, your negotiating posture is a little different than it is when you're picking a Hollywood celebrity sometimes. But the fact about this is, why we've really enjoyed working with Gunnar and his team is that, not only is Gunnar an Icelander, not only is he a guy that a lot of the CCP people work out with up here at the Mjolnir gym, but he is a pioneer in the same way that CCP has been a pioneering company, right? He's gone out, he's found his own style of fighting, and he's taken that into the global arena, and he's been tremendously successful with 2 Ultimate Fighting Championship wins under his belt. And we could not be prouder to be a partner with Gunnar Nelson and his team. Now, of course, a lot of you noticed the Dust branding and the excellent location of the Dust branding on Gunnar's attire. But it wasn't just on the shorts. We also got a nice Dust logo there on the shirt, which looks really great when your arm is being raised because you've won the match. And there's a lot more of this that we want to do with Gunnar and his team. Of course, we had some pretty crazy plans for what to do with him here with the Odd Fan Fest that would have made chess boxing look kind of junior varsity. But the first rule we sort of embarked on this journey with them was we will not do anything at CCP that ends this athlete's promising career. And unfortunately, Gunnar got a bit of a knee injury and has had a minor operation, so that will wait. His next fight with the UFC will be rescheduled, but there will be great things to come here. And as fate would have it, Gunnar has made it to the show today, so for people who want to give him a shout out, he's up in the stands here. Thank you all for coming. (11-0-1). Where'd you go, guys? So with that, right, and more to come on that, there's more than just promotions, more than just partnerships and things like that that you have to do when you're really marketing something as big and as interesting and complex as Dust. And, part of how you get that message out, for those of you who are wondering why do you have the brand on his ass when you've got an undefeated mixed martial arts wrestler, this is terrific placement. So we expect to see more of this in our future as well. So in all sort of sense of getting into the brand of the game and things like that, right? There is a big story around what is Dust 514. And so when you start thinking about how to build a marketing campaign and build this story together, it's not just enough to, of course you have to get benefits out. You have to tell people this is free. You have to tell people that it's got persistence and customization and more depth and complexity than any shooter you've ever played. Of course you have to talk about the fact that you now get to be a space mercenary working with these galactic empires that have been waging wars for 10 years with hundreds of thousands of players. But you kind of need to also make sure you dig deep and get into the soul of the game. And so as we went down this path, a bit of the journey over the past year of coming up with this. The first thing, of course, is, we all know Eve at some level in this logo. But there's still a bit of mystery about 514. And so when we went into this idea of, maybe we talk about 514 in our marketing, I was told, David, you are not permitted to release the information about 514 at this time. So we moved on, and we started looking at Dust. And Dust, why are you calling a shooter Dust? What's the meaning of this? And at some level, we were able to find a slightly more receptive audience, an athlete, the creative director, who was part of Dust from the beginning and coming up with this name and this idea. Dust has a lot of iconography going for it as a title. The idea there of the circle of life, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. In Dust, you are an immortal mercenary, right? You go through this endless cycle of birth and and rebirth and death and rebirth and death and rebirth. And this is something that feels like, you know, you can almost visualize the dust coming together, the dust parting over time. But there's also the dust of the stars, right? You know, I mean, even just thinking about the symphony last night, you got a feel of things being much bigger in New Eden than they are in a typical shooter. And so there was a lot to work with here, and we started to visualize things about mercenaries being formed out of dust and fighting their wars that way. But there was also more, right? I mean, when I thought back to the first time I heard of dust and really got a taste of it, it was a trailer burned into my brain from 2011. And a part of it, you know, just the way this began. They told us we had no chance, that we were fools to even try. But I'm a mercenary. I don't judge your ambitions. I only judge what you can afford. Pay my price, and I'll strike down the heavens. And dust is different in this regard. Think about the shooters. You know, they have these words for you like duty and honor. They have reasons for you to fight their wars. But that's not how we roll in New Eden. We fight our own wars. We've got our own purposes. We don't have a country telling us what to do. We're out there doing this because it benefits us. It benefits our pocketbooks. It benefits our alliances. It benefits our political structures. And so the idea of the mercenary needed to be tightly tied into this. And the last thing that we thought a lot about was the fact that it's not just about maybe the physical manifestation of dust, but a sandbox, right? I mean, here's a sandbox. And if you want dust mercenaries being formed out of dust, maybe they have a little more texture. Maybe it's a little more like sand. And so we did a lot of work on this. We looked around. We found many sources of inspiration around the world, things that kind of had this idea of particles forming together to build something bigger, falling apart and returning to their base assets and such. We started thinking about what kinds of particles made sense here. You know, a dust with a grit to it, with a heft, with a real feel to it that echoed the seriousness of what it was that you were doing as a dust mercenary and conveyed all that drama of being in a giant war with hundreds of thousands of players in it. And over the exploration over a period of months with the development team, with the marketing team, there was one piece of key art that emerged from it that just kind of captured it for everybody. And it was this. It was this idea that, you know, here's a mercenary being born from the dust, but maybe he's dying and falling back into the dust, and he's in a world surrounded by this conflict, and you can see everything going on there. It is that sort of endless cycle of birth and death and rebirth. And so we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to show you a television spot. This isn't a spot that's going to be on the air soon, but it will be on the air this year, we believe. That is it's not finished yet, but we're pretty proud of the state right now. And given the journey that you've been on with us so far, we felt it was only fair to return the favor a bit and let you guys here at FanFest and on the stream be the first people to see the first dust television spot. So here we go.
It's a war. Wars don't end. They just pause between rounds while each side catches its breath. We need war. It's how people get rich. It's how progress happens. As long as there's someone with an axe to grind, I've got a job. And I'm not going anywhere.
Rated T for teen. Download now, only on PlayStation Network.
So, thank you. I have to tell you, this is a lot of work, right, from a lot of people that really went into this on the marketing and on the development sides. And it's not easy to capture the essence of a brand in what is effectively 24 seconds of spots once you get rid of your legal requirements on each side, in a way that, again, works for you guys as the core, works for people that have been part of this journey with us for 10 years and then some, but also will resonate, again, with that poor shooter who has no idea